Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Kiawe, and Shukari peoples. My name is Ann Lakaitis, and I will be the worship assistant this morning for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our members and friends, we're very glad you are here, in person or with us online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. We have a few announcements for this Sunday. Everyone is invited to stay after worship next Sunday for our Deck the Halls event, where we will decorate our space for the holidays. We will have some special activities for children and snacks to share, and we hope you will join us. Our annual meeting is 2 weeks from today, December 10th, immediately following worship. Everyone who has been a member for at least 30 days has a vote. More details will be provided in the weekly email blast and also in the newsletter and other information going out to members. This is a very, very important meeting. For other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you are on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
So good to see all of you on this holiday weekend, and I'm glad that we're able to be here together in spirit and in community. Hear now these words from Sherry Woodbury. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you now to please stand as you are willing or able for our call to worship found in our bulletin. Let us join together with these words. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. Our opening hymn is found in our great hymnal, number 349, We Gather Together. Please be seated. And we will now have any children who might like to join me. I don't think we've got one coming from the nursery, so I'll meet you up front here. All right, good morning. How are you doing? Good. So, did y'all have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yes. Did you eat some special food? Did you talk about some things you're thankful for?
No.
Nope, that's all right. Well, you know what? Maybe we can do that now for a few minutes. We can talk about it. Yeah, we are so thankful. I'm thankful that y'all are here today and that we get a chance to look at this very special book. One thing that we do around Thanksgiving is we have Native American Remembrance Day, the day after Thanksgiving. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Native Americans. And Harley, I've got the special book here. It's called Powwow Day. And it's written by Tracy Sorrell, illustrated by Madeline Goodnight. So this book, it's about a little girl, and she's maybe about 8 years old, and she's been sick, all right? And her friend Amber whispers to her one morning, "River, let's wake up." And so River, she's lying in bed. She's had something kind of like the flu, right? She's not been feeling well, and she's still pretty weak. And they remember, River, when she wakes up, remembers that it's a special day. It's a day called Powwow Day, which some Native Americans will celebrate. And yes, there is something on the floor that you're going to get to use in just a minute. Yeah, you're ready for that. And so on Powwow Day, they have special dances for all sorts of things. And so River and her family, they drive to the special place where they're going to have Powwow Day. And then Daddy arranges chairs around their family drum, because the families all bring their own drums. And River's kind of sad because she knows that she's been too sick to dance. But she loves it when the drums start going. And everyone starts singing with the drums too. Can y'all see this big drum, her big family drum there? And they have these sticks on the drum. And then some of the elders start to dance. And they dance to the beat of the drums and to that rhythm. And then here's little River, and she's in her special jingle dress. Now, all the young girls and some of the younger women have these special dresses here called jingle dresses. You see these little kind of silver things that are hanging from each dress? Those are jingles, like little bells. And so anytime they dance, it makes a wonderful sound. So we don't have a jingle dress, but we have a few bells. Harley, do you want to shake this for a minute? And then maybe you can pass it on to your friend too once you give it a couple shakes. Can you pass it on? Maybe I should go in the opposite direction. Okay, maybe. Okay. Oh, thank you, Harley. So let's shake it while we think about that is wonderful. Here we are with the jingle dance, and all these girls are dancing, and this makes these special jingle sounds. And River is so sad that she can't dance, but it makes her really happy because the jingle dance has a special meaning. So, what do you think the jingle dance might mean? Do you have any ideas? So the jingle dance was created about 100 years ago when there was a bad flu epidemic. And there were indigenous people up around like the Great Lakes area who created this as a way to bring about healing. And so it was especially meant for people who had gotten sick and to bring about healing. And so Harley is looking at all her friends and these other young women and girls who are dancing, and she keeps hearing the jingles. You see all these wonderful dancers, and she's hearing the jingles, and she knows that that's helping her heal and to get better. You want to shake the jingle some more? No, that's all right. Okay. Maybe. So, Harley, do you want to shake the jingles some more? Yeah. There you go. Good job. So just as we're hearing this, we can know this is a very special thing to help bring about healing. Yes, it does. Did y'all see all the girls dancing? We can hear the bells. Yeah. And this made River feel so much better, and she knew that next year she was going to feel well and be able to dance again. So that's something that we can think about, all the different ways that people can show they love us and that they're helping take care for us and sending good wishes about ways that we can heal and get better anytime we're sick or maybe just having a tough time with things. I hope that when you hear some bells, and we're going to hear a lot of bells the next few weeks, right, with Christmas coming up, that maybe you can think about the jingle dance and about good wellness and health for all people. Do you think you can think about that when you hear some bells? Maybe, yeah, okay. Now, thank y'all so much for being here, and you can borrow the book and take it back to the nursery if you want to look at it some more. And also, the jingle bells belong in the nursery too, so that's a good place for them. So thank you for coming forward. I hope all of us, when we hear bells in the coming weeks, will think about this story. And I did not know till I started doing some research a few weeks ago about the origins of the jingle dance. It was during the Spanish influenza epidemic a little over 100 years ago. And I think what great meaning it can have for all of us. So at this time, we come to our time for ritual and sacred sharing. And we share our joys and our sorrows, our concerns, and our milestones. This week, we light a candle for Sue as she continues to recover from recent health issues. She's definitely improving, appreciates all the support from the church. For Risa's father, who is having some very serious health concerns and has hospice in right now. For Jane's mother with her ongoing health issues. In honor of Native American Heritage Day, which was observed this past Friday. For all the many people who are traveling today from the Thanksgiving holiday, the ongoing struggle for civil rights in Iran, all areas of violence around the world, especially the war in Ukraine, for the terrible and dire situations with Israel and Gaza and the lands of Palestine, and that a just and lasting peace will emerge. And for all who have been impacted by rising incidents of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism around the globe. Now at this time, you are invited to come forward, and I invite you to come forward along the aisle that is by the wall. You may fill out your own prayer card to place on the prayer wall. You may light a candle for your own joy or concern, or simply drop a stone in the shared water. Please come forward as you feel called to do so. light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. I invite us now into a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. I will sound the singing bowl, and then we'll have a period of silence. And after our period of silence, Anne will lead us with a musical meditation. During this time of silence, I invite you to slow your breath down, to relax into your breath, and to invite into you that which you need this morning.
Our wisdom reading this morning is a reading from Jacqueline Russell of the Navajo Nation, written for the 562 Project. When I had the privilege of visiting my Wampanoag relatives, they shared the real story of Thanksgiving with me. Paula Peters explained, the story of grateful pilgrims and happy Indians breaking bread and celebrating the first successful colonial harvest has been the fairy tale Americans have long preferred over the truth. The original harvest feast that inspired the Thanksgiving holiday was in fact an impromptu gathering that one might say was more an act of diplomacy and show of force by Wampanoag Massasoit Osi Mayagwan. That was his name, meaning yellow feather. The single paragraph and only primary source reference to the event, penned by Edward Winslow, remarks that Osi Mayagwan arrived uninvited with 90 men who remained for 3 days and contributed deer and fowl, which may or not have included a turkey. While the brief description has conjured up Norman Rockwell images depicting a long table piled high with food and grog and flanked by friendly pilgrims and Indians, more scholarly interpretations perceive it as evidence of an early tenuous alliance still being tested. Furthermore, the giving of thanks that has endured from that event is in fact a tradition not exclusive to one day a year for the Wampanoag and indigenous people across this nation. It is our custom to acknowledge all the gifts our Creator bestows, from the hunted to the fished to the harvested, as they are received. But our spirituality, including ceremony conducted outside of the confines of a church and worship of our natural environment, including the winged and four-legged creatures, was lost on the colonizers, who determined our customs to be savagery. Ironically, those pious pilgrims who came here for religious freedom wasted no time forcing their beliefs upon us, their hypocrisy sanctioned by a papal bull called the Doctrine of Discovery. It didn't take long, less than 50 years, for the thankful to become thankless, and the pious to become oppressors. Thanksgiving, the holiday, always feels ironic to me. As a Native American woman that believes strongly in the transformative power of storytelling, and as a dreamer that has dedicated her entire life to telling real stories from Indian country in an effort to building cultural bridges and abandoning stereotypes, to celebrate and retell the imagined story of Thanksgiving feels more than ironic, it feels wrong. It feels like I'm condoning the ongoing justice in our communities, abandoning the fight to protect the sacred, encouraging indigenous erasure. That does not mean, however, that I'm ungrateful or that I don't love my mother's fresh bread on Thanksgiving morning. I am so grateful to live this beautiful life, to know such wonderful people, and to have the opportunity to drink clean water, breathe fresh air, and feel the strength of my ancestors on our ground. So today, I give thanks for our water protectors in Standing Rock. I give thanks for indigenous resistance. I give thanks for the opportunity to know the truth. Let's start telling the truth about the history of this country. The path to reconciliation starts with honest acknowledgement of our past, with open eyes and open hearts for a better future.
Now, I'm certain that many of us grew up observing Thanksgiving with the same mythological understanding that Jacqueline Rossell refers to in our wisdom reading today. I remember numerous years in school where we would annually tell the story of indigenous people welcoming religious dissidents from Europe, helping to keep them from starvation during a difficult winter. I remember numerous plays and artwork where this peaceful coexistence and welcome of, quote, the first Thanksgiving meal set the stage for the American heritage. Of course, things I didn't know at the time, that not many white people in our country did know at that time, is that after this first meal together, genocide and colonization would soon follow. And during my elementary school days, I did not know that indigenous children were still being taken from homes and placed in white camps or homes, oftentimes church affiliated, so they would become anglicized and forget their own cultural heritage. I didn't know that part of the American heritage is to establish the desire to establish white culture as supreme and subdue any history or ideas that might not convey that ideological belief. Something we certainly have seen in the past year with legislative efforts to outlaw teaching of certain parts of the American heritage or history. Now, as we know, during this month, our theme has been heritage during the month of November. And as we've explored this theme from various viewpoints, we know that if we look at heritage with open eyes, that every heritage has both positive and negative aspects. There is no heritage that is completely good. Now, we also know we live in a society that likes to view things as black or white, good or bad. So if we choose to acknowledge that both good and bad can be held at the same time, it's not easy. But true love is not blind. True love is not blind. It sees with open eyes. True love of this country, as we reflect on the American heritage, means that we see the fuller history, admit and acknowledge the dark or sinful parts of who we are as a country, and thus being enabled to work towards a better society and better world. Now, in 1973, the Heritage Foundation was created. It's a conservative think tank, and it came to prominence during the administration of Ronald Reagan. And it was during the years of the Reagan administration that some of the early colonial ideas from this country around manifest destiny really gained a much larger audience. Reagan gave one famous speech which included a theme from the early American period, that of America being a, quote, city on a hill, or a light to all nations. Now, these words come directly from the biblical narrative and refer to the city of Jerusalem. The idea from this message, and which the Heritage Foundation took up and ran with from the Reagan years, it morphed into the one which Christian nationalists today use as a foundation for their politics. That America from its beginning is a, quote, Christian nation, destined by God to have global precedence. Now, these ideas, of course, gained a great deal of power and ideas in the previous presidential administration. For people affiliated with this ideology, the American heritage is truly one where white Christian European colonization was destined by God, and anything negative about these mythological beliefs are seen as unchristian, un-American, or just simply false. Yet, as we sit here in our Unitarian Universalist Church, we know that our spiritual heritage is grounded in inclusivity and seeing things with wide open eyes. A great diversity of beliefs is part of our heritage. These beliefs being held with love. Now, if you've been in the UU 101 class with me, or if you've read or studying about the history of UUs, we know that in 1648, right? 1648, the Cambridge platform in the Northeast was one in which our Universalist forebears were clear that this continent, that the Europeans who are coming over, this should be a land for religious freedom. Not just religious freedom for one group, but for all groups. With the Puritan mindset, which the Pilgrims were intertwined with, it was religious freedom for them, but not for others. And this includes a great diversity of spiritual practices. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not stating that our own spiritual ancestors are completely without blame, because we are all human and no one is. We all have a lot to learn and a lot of growth. During the numerous years I taught American religious history at Salem College, I couldn't help but notice that even the most tolerant of Europeans during the colonial period still wrote in regards to indigenous peoples in ways that we now recognize as racist and patronizing. There's always so much work to be done. Yet we reside in this wonderful year of 2023, getting really close to 2024, right? Information and opportunities are rich for us to gain a fuller understanding of our heritage in regards to Thanksgiving, the colonial period, and in empowering and supporting Indigenous Americans today. Now, Anne shared with us a wisdom reading which comes from the 562 Project. This is a multi-year project where photos are taken representing individuals and communities from all 562 Native American tribes. That's how many we currently have here in this country. Now, you can Google 562 Project. You can find the blog, find out a lot more information, and there's so many amazing unbelievable, beautiful pictures. I hope that you'll take some time to do that in the coming days. Now, the goal of the 562 project is to create positive Indigenous role models which do justice to the richness and diversity and lived experiences of Indian country. This is about creating a fuller and more real history of this land on which we reside and the people who have and continue to live here. It is a history and stories not told from the perspective of European colonizers, but told by the peoples whose ancestors resided on this land for many centuries before Europeans arrived. This is the American heritage. Journalist and author Isabel Wilkerson wrote these words: "I love old houses. I've always lived in old houses, but old houses need a lot of work. Some of us know very closely, don't we? The work is never done. And just when you think you've finished one renovation, it's time to do something else. Something else has gone wrong. That's why our country is like. You may not want to go into that basement, but if you really don't go into that basement, it's at your own peril. Whatever you are ignoring is not going to go away. Whatever you're ignoring is only going to get worse. Whatever you're ignoring will be there to be reckoned with until you reckon with it." And I think that's why we're called upon to do where we are right now. Now, this is true in so many levels, isn't it? With our own interior journey, if we don't go to the basement, deal with that, it's going to keep coming back out to haunt us. With our communities here, whether it's our church community or other communities we're a part in, our families, and certainly within our country and society, we got to go into the basement. We have to admit it's there, go in with open eyes. The spiritual journey is about truth, love, compassion, diversity, and inclusivity. It is about truly knowing our heritage, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that we might continue to work towards justice, peace, and love. The unexamined faith is not worth having, and an unseen heritage is always doomed to repeat itself. Today, let us give thanks for a fuller understanding of our heritage. Let us give thanks for the writers, artists, poets, teachers who continue to share that heritage with us. Let us give thanks for our rich tapestry of our heritage, culturally and spiritually. And let us commit today again to the renewal of opening our eyes and ears and hearts so that we continually gain a fuller understanding of who we seek to be as a spiritual community in the midst of the American heritage. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Something told the wild geese it was time to go. Though the fields lay golden, something whispered, snow. Leaves were green and stirring. flagging orchards, steeped with amber spires, but each mother stiffened, at remembered eyes. Something told the wild geese it was time to fly. Summer in their memory, winter in their cry. So fly, bird, fly. Winter's on the wing. Goodbye, goodbye. Come again next spring. Something told the wild geese it was time to go. Something whispered, snow.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for which we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with the Catawba Cultural Preservation Project. Since 1989, the Catawba Cultural Preservation Project has pursued their mission to preserve, protect, promote, and maintain the rich culture and heritage of the Catawba Indian Nation. At their location on the Catawba Indian Reservation in Rock Hill, the project provides cultural immersion classes, maintains an archive of historical records, works with archaeological projects, and operates a craft store, both physical and online, featuring items made by Catawba artists and artisans. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, or you may wait and drop it into one of the baskets as you exit our space. And you are always welcome to give online at puc.org or by texting PUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for the generous offering of your hearts and your treasures as we go about doing the important work of our church community. I invite you now to stand as you are willing or able for our closing hymn found in our gray hymnal, number 121, We'll Build a Land. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who helped make our service possible today, and a special thanks to our choir for singing. Yes, definitely. Let's now end our service as we do each Sunday by taking time to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words, for the things for which we are grateful today.
I'm grateful for all the creatures that share the world with us.
Yes, all the creatures that share the world with us.
For a sermon that really made me think. Thank you.
Thank you for a sermon that made Connie think. Thank you.
Indigenous culture.
Indigenous cultures.
Family.
Family.
Define spirituality.
Define spirituality.
I'm grateful for the Story for All Ages, which has a special meaning this week.
Oh, yes, for the Story for All Ages. Thank you, Frank. And for grandchildren.
I'm grateful for being able to share Thanksgiving with our neighbors.
Good. Sharing Thanksgiving with neighbors. We give thanks for all these things and so much more which we hold in our hearts today. Let us now go forth, thankful for all who have truly loved this land for many generations, and thankful for the rich diversity of the peoples who create our society and our community. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. Now for our closing hymn, we traditionally form a circle, and you may hold hands if you would like to do so. If you'd rather not hold hands, I know we've got all germs going on, you may simply stand in the circle and just place your hand on your heart.